What's going on, everyone? It is the Derf, and today I am bringing you an OG Strand Warlock build. If you liked my prismatic version of this build, you are going to like the OG almost, arguably, even more. Between the two, this one is probably a little bit harder to put down because you get a lot more green buddies, green allies, and more chaos all over the screen than you do the prismatic version. However, on top of it, you're also going to be able to generate your abilities much faster. You're going to be able to do grapple melees constantly and deal tons of area tick damage. So if you've been looking for a way to incorporate swarmers as well as some new gear and maybe a fan favorite old exotic that you may not have even realized is absolutely busted right now, then look no further because this is the build for you. Hopefully you like this video because this was extremely fun to make. Here we go. So to get started with our OG Warlock Swarming class build up, we're of course going to go with the Strand subclass, Broodweaver for Warlock. Our super, of course, is Needle Storm. After embedding themselves in the environment, the needles will reweave into a host of threadlings. Threadlings you create will return to you and perch if they can't find any nearby targets. Damaging targets with your weapons or melee will send out perch threadlings to attack. This build is going to be all about threadlings and powered melees. For abilities, we're going to go with Healing Rift, Burst Glide, of course the Arcane Needle, and for our grenade of choice, we're going to be using the Grapple. The Grapple, of course, does not cause damage, but we can activate our powered melee at the end of a grapple and generate a huge amount of damage. For aspects, number one on the list is going to be Mind Spun Invocation. Your Grapple, Shackle, and Threadling Grenade have enhanced functionality. Your grapple melee spawns 3 threadling eggs. This means that when you hit your melee at the end of a grapple, you're going to have 3 threadling eggs that, of course, will add to your overall chaos. Next up, we're going to have the Wanderer. Tangles you throw attached to targets and detonate into a suspending burst. Destroying a tangle creates a suspending burst after a short delay. Threadling final blows create a tangle. So this build is going to be all about powered melees, grappling, and of course causing as much chaos with our green buddies as possible. For fragments, Threat of Warding, first up on the list. Picking up an orb of power grants us woven mail. Your body is encased in protective mesh of tightly woven strand matter, greatly reducing any incoming non-precision damage. This is going to give us -10 to health, but don't worry, we'll be okay from that. Next up, we're going to have Thread of Transmutation. While you have Woven Mail, Weapon Final Blows create a tangle. +10 to melee, so bonus on both of those. We, of course, want as many tangles as possible. Next up is going to be Thread of Propagation. Powered melee final blows grant your Strand Weapons unraveling rounds. Because our main ad clear is going to be strand base and our heavy weapon is going to be strand base, we're going to benefit from getting melee final blows whether we're in a DPS phase or we are just trying to condense the nonsense on the battlefield. Last but not least is going to be Thread of Generation. Dealing damage generates grenade energy. -10 to grenade, but don't worry, we will get that back. I mean, as quick as you can possibly get it back. For stat distribution, you want to focus on super, melee, and grenade in that order. Any extra stats that you have, go ahead and dump that into weapons. Try to get your weapons at above a 70 so you can take advantage of some damage that will compound with other damage that weapons are going to do. To put this into perspective, your super is going to regenerate 190% normal power. Your melee is going to regenerate 190% normal power with a 42-second cooldown. You'll deal a little extra damage to PvE and PvP combatants, and your grenade will cool down in 38 seconds at a rate of +184%. For reference, your weapons are going to be putting out an extra 11.1% damage, and of course your reload and handling is going to be boosted by about 7.5%. Now, the way this is going to translate, all of this we'll get into here in 1 second. For weapons, any of the main Strand weapons from this season will do just fine. You could argue Borrowed Dyad as well, but I'll tell you why that's not going to be the play for this. Qua Nihilus II is my pick overall. It is a 900 RPM submachine gun. Go ahead, if you've got one that's got proximity power and hatchling, it will add to your overall chaos, generating your melee with final blows while targets are nearby. And of course, you could always go with Last Thursday or Mint Retrograde if you prefer the special ammo pulse rifle, but Last Thursday would be good as well if you have one with Strategist and Slice, because you will be regularly causing havoc regardless, but I think your best play is going to be the faster firing Quanillis. In the energy slot, you can absolutely wreck with Devil's Ruin. The reason why Devil's Ruin is so great in this is that final blows create fire sprites. After picking up a fire sprite, long press to enable a high-powered solar laser beam mode, strong against unstoppable champions. That laser beam, of course, pyrogenesis, solar laser scorches targets, hit, and ignites them when defeated. So you'll be able to generate fire sprites along with the tangles. Fire sprites, of course, give you grenade energy, so you will be able to get your grapple back even faster. So basically, you're going to get your Devil's Ruin powered up. All you have to do is pick up one fire sprite with this. You can store it, and then you can whip it out at the beginning of an encounter with a major or a champ, or possibly even a boss, like you'll see in the demo video at the end. You could also make an argument to roll with Polaris Lance. The reason why Polaris Lance doesn't work for me here, not because it's less good or maybe even slightly better than Devil's Ruin. Devil's Ruin pairs better because of the strong scorching ability. You don't necessarily have to kill the enemy in order to get the scorching effect, which I think is going to be great because you can pair this with certain mods on the artifact to basically give you free solar damage on an OG Strand build. Whereas the Polaris Lance, you have to land rapid precision hits to even get the Scorching Explosive. And if you don't hit your crit every single time, meaning you're not going slow, you're trying to go fast, sometimes that can take away from... Sometimes that can take away from your overall functionality. For the heavy slot, we're going to go with Pro Memoria. Pro Memoria, featured in my prismatic version of this build, absolutely wrecks. We're going to take advantage of reconstruction with bait and switch, plus 30% to damage for bait and switch. And while we're on the topic of weapon damage, let's go through that real quick. Because we have featured seasonal weapons in the top two slots, we're going to get plus 6.0% damage from our kinetic slot. And because we're using a featured exotic, we're going to get plus 10% to our weapon damage in the energy slot. Add that with the bait and switch 30%, and you've got yourself an escalating damage with each slot: kinetic, energy, and heavy. That also is going to stack with your damage from your weapon stats. So that 30% actually going to be 41.1 for Pro Memoria for the bait and switch duration. With the Devil's Ruin, you're going to, of course, get another 11.1%, so 21.1%. And with your kinetic, you're, of course, getting the 6.0 plus the 11.1, so you're going to get another 17% added damage to your primary weapon, which is absolutely ridiculous and will help you conquer next higher tier content. For our armor, we're of course going to go with Swarmers. Destroying a tangle spawns a threadling. Your threadlings unravel targets as that they damage. So whether or not you kill them is irrelevant. They're going to be unraveled regardless. So what you want to produce is as many floating unraveling rounds as well as threadlings and tangles as possible. And Swarmers absolutely will do that, and it'll pair awesome with your kinetic weapon and certain mods from the artifact. In the first column for all the armors, put in whatever general armor mod that you need. Remember, there are no 4 energy costs now, so mod till your heart is content. For the helmet, go ahead and throw on the heavy ammo finder, the solar strand dual siphon, and the harmonic siphon to gain added potency to all strand orbs that you produce while using your kinetic weapon. For the arms, go ahead and put on 1 heavy-handed and 2 impact inductions. The key here is that every time that you get a kill or at least cause damage with a power melee, it reduces your grenade cooldown, which means theoretically you should be able to spam your grapple and your powered melee as often as you want. For the chest mods, go ahead and put on 2 damage resistance mods and put on the Strand Ammo Generation mod, which of course is going to feed your Pro Memoria. For the legs, go ahead and put on 1 Innervation, 1 Invigoration, and an Absolution. The reason for this is the ability to generate additional potency for the ability regen. Remember, you're getting 190% for your melee, and you're going to get over 190%, give or take, for your grapple. Finally, go ahead and throw on a class font, a Reaper, and an Outreach for your class item. The draw here, of course, is to be able to have as many stacks of your powered melee as possible in case you aren't grappling during a given situation. And when you do need that healing rift, you'll go ahead and give yourself a free orb of power on your next weapon final blow. For the artifact, make sure you have on Overload Rapid Fire, Unstoppable Sidearm, and if you do want to switch out for Polaris Lance or the Pulse Rifle in the kinetic slot, go ahead and put on Anti-Barrier Scout and Pulse Rifle. So theoretically, if you build this the way you want to, you can have an answer for all 3 champs. In the second column, make sure you throw on the Flame, Fiber, and Freeze for the dual Siphon mods. Tightly Woven is going to be key here. It's going to give you increased class ability and grenade stats, so the fact that our class ability is so low isn't going to matter, and our grenade stats are only going to get better. Fever and Chill, next up, rapid precision hits with solar weapons, grants you Radiant. As you use Radiant, of course, you gain increased weapon damage, which is going to hit on top of the already added on damage you're getting from the artifact buff, as well as your weapons stat. Go ahead and put on Reciprocal Jaw because you are going to be using your Devil's Ruin, so you're going to get increased damage for a short time upon next draw. And yes, that does stack with Pyrogenesis. Refresh Threads, picking up an elemental pickup, matching your subclass element or tangle while you have a Strand Super, grants energy to your least charge ability. So we're going to be creating tons of tangles all the time. So getting increased ability energy on top of already sub 1 minute cooldowns is only going to add to the potential chaos you can cause. In the next column, Elemental Coalescence. Defeating targets has a chance to create an elemental pickup matching your equipped super. Does not matter if it's this matching element or not. You will be able to produce tangles even with your Devil's Ruin on occasion. Threaded Blast. Destroy a tangle with strand damage. Increases the radius of the explosion and its damage. This is going to stack with our artifact mods. With our artifact mods on top of the strand damage destroying the tangle, it's just going to add to more suspensions and more detonations. In the final column, Shield Crush and Tangled Web will round out your OG Strand Swarmers build for this Edge of Fate variant of the build, and it's going to be awesome. Creating a tangle by defeating a strand debuff target suspends nearby combatants. That's on top of the suspension that you're already going to do with tangles thanks to your artifact mods. So you're going to double up the amount of suspending power, and in very ad dense activities or maybe activities where you're kind of pinned down and you need a tangle to throw out and maybe help you move up forward because you're just not getting anywhere, Tangled Web and our artifact mods are going to help you get there. So one of the reasons I think you should try this build is Strand got a lot of love last season, and even though the artifact mods have changed, Strand plus Solar, which was one of the original pairings when the final shape dropped, is still very potent and very universally utilitarian in virtually all kinds of content. Remember, you can suspend champs, you can suspend majors, and if you're in a fire team where maybe you're the person who's causing a lot of threaded blasts and suspensions and things like that, all you're going to be able to do is cause your fire team as a whole to be able to output more damage to majors that otherwise may slow you down if you were solo. Consequently, because of your pyrogenesis from your Devil's Ruin, the added 10% plus the added 11% from our weapons mod and seasonal gear buff, you're going to be able to take those majors down a lot easier. Oh, and by the way, they're not going to be coming after you because they're going to be suspended in the air. Consequently, once you defeat them, yes, you got it. They're going to have strand debuffs, so you may create a tangle on top of that. So Anyways, if you did find anything helpful with this video, please consider liking and subscribing. If you know a Guardian out there who could benefit or loves their green buddies and wants a good build that pairs Strand and Solar together in a very roundabout way, go ahead and share this video with them or send them my way. My goal is to help as many people as possible. As always, if you guys are looking for the dim link, it'll be in the description. And if you are by chance looking for a non-toxic gaming community, I recommend hopping to my Discord. It's got a lot of great people in there. There's no drama, no nonsense. It's just Guardians everywhere that want to help other Guardians with this, power grind and of course, obtaining the best gear possible. So I'm gonna switch over to the boss fight now and show you a couple more things and then we'll wrap it up. So there we have it, an OG Swarmers build for the Edge of Fate. Please ignore the fact that I just airmailed my entire super on the opening of this boss fight. Instead, let's focus on the positives. Some of the positives include, now that we can have different ability regen rates once we go over 70 in our armor stats, suddenly elements like Strand and OG builds like Strand, for example, maybe not necessarily prismatic, are going to take advantage of kind of the similar things that roaming supers took advantage of, and that is increased ways to generate ability energy as long as you focus on said armor stats. So for the grapple melee, of course, you want to focus on getting your grapple back as fast as possible. And now that we have 190% ability recharge rate on top of already relatively low cooldowns, Strand and all the elements like it now get put into kind of a different category than what they used to be. It used to be the play was to only go with prismatic. Now elements and the buffs that they get and some of the recharge rates that they get give prismatic kind of a run for their money. Yeah, you might not be able to incorporate a lot of other elements into a Strand OG build like this, but do you really need them when you're able to spam your abilities as much as you can in certain prismatic builds? I think that's a good trade-off, and I also like the difference in armor archetypes so you can be the kind of player that you want to be, and also the featured weapons so you can get additional weapon damage, which we never used to be able to really get before, short of having unraveling rounds. So hopefully you guys liked the video. This is an extremely fun build that I hope helps you guys reach that next tier. I will see you next time. Take care.